Many backpackers I met on my journey skipped Merida because the city is far away from Playa del Carmen and other cities near the airport. That is such a shame. Merida was my favorite town in the Yucatan island, thanks to the history, culture and beautiful architecture and activities the city has to offer. I totally love the city and I think there's a lot more authentic vibe in Merida and less touristy, so I hope this video will give you inspiration to go to the biggest city in the Yucatan state. Merida might seem far away if you go directly from Cancun airport to the city, because you have to spend around 5 to 7 hours in a bus, depending on the road. I had some overnights at the paradise Holbox island first, and then a city near the famous salt lake Los Colorados with a big natural reserve and wildlife on my way. If you're interested in my path, then I have made videos about these places that you can click on in the end of my video. But that made the travel time to Merida shorter, and I will recommend you to see other places on your way to Merida as well. I recommend that you go to Merida during the weekend, because there is some special events and activities going on Saturday and Sunday that I really think are great. Every Saturday you can see a show in front of the cathedral. The show is free and I recommend to be there a little bit early if you want to have a good seat. The show begins 8:30 p.m. and 1 hour before most seats are occupied. The show is called the Patria ball game, where performers dressed in Mayan clothes dance and do a special ceremony. Then the men play a special game with a ball from ancient time, and the grand finale is that the ball is set on fire. I think it was interesting and it gave an idea of the Mayan culture and traditions. Then every Sunday the city's main streets are closed to cars, so it becomes a huge bike lane instead. You can see and enjoy more than 5 kilometers in Merida on a bike, and the best part is that it only costs $1 for every hour you bike, and it's a really good way to see the city. We drove the whole road and I suggest you do that as well, because the areas are very different. There are different places to rent a bike. This place was on the bike lane, but I suggest you just ask at the reception at your stay and they can guide you to the nearest place with bikes. Remember to bring some ID. One of the great things about biking is that you'll drive on the big and famous road Paseo de Montejo, which is a big street with huge and beautiful villas. In the middle between the many big and beautiful buildings is a mansion, which today is the Anthropology and History Museum. It costs less than $4 to get in. The museum contains a lot of relics from the Maya culture, but the building itself is worth coming for. At the end on Paseo de Montejo, you'll find a roundabout with a huge monument, Monumento a la Patria. And it's a really beautiful monument, but since the monument is far away from the city, it is a really good way to go there by bike. If you go in the other direction and away from Paseo de Montejo, you'll see a lot of colorful houses. Both ways shows a different architectural style in Merida. The bike lane is open from 8 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. After the bike tour you can head to the central plaza, where there's a market around the park. There you can get a really good meal. I recommend the lime soup, which is super tasty. Afterwards you can walk around and see a lot of Mexican items, from clothes, accessories to souvenirs. And when we were there was even a dance show. Just a little tip if you're staying in Merida on a Sunday, that might come in handy. On Sundays you can't buy alcohol after 5 p.m. in the stores. Another good way to see Merida is to go with the free walking tour. It leaves daily from the Tourist Information Center at 9:30 a.m. and it is located on the west side of Plaza Grande. The tour is free and the guides speak in Spanish and English. It took 2 hours and focused on the main historical places around the Ground Plaza. You get to know more about the park, the museums and their opening times, the cathedral and so much more. I think it was a really good way to get information about Merida that I wouldn't have found in a guidebook. It is best to attend the tour at the beginning of your stay in Merida, so you'll get to know and learn the city a lot better and what you can do and see after the tour. Speaking about the Grand Plaza, this is the heart of Merida and a really nice plaza to relax and enjoy the atmosphere. You cannot go there without noticing these special chairs, which I found here and in the city Valladolid. They are designed this way because couples can look at each other and still touch one another. A good thing to know is that there's free Wi-Fi on this plaza, as well as you can find on Paseo de Montero, museums and other public places. Now I think that Merida is a cheap city overall, but that depends of course. To be honest, I had to restrain myself in this city because there are a lot of temptations in the shops, especially if you're a woman. But you can also do some more alternative shopping in the city. The market in Merida is also filled with all kinds of stuff from books, food, clothes and shoes. The market are quite big, and what I really liked about it is that there are so many shops selling stuff to the locals, so you get to see a more authentic part of the city and daily life. You could easily lose track of time and just walk around and enjoy the atmosphere, the smells and cheap temptations. And it is a good place to eat as well, where the tacos, for example, are really fresh made. In this market you can also find equipment for the Mexican cuisine, for example taco makers, in case you want to make your own tacos like I was inspired to when I attended a food class at my hostel. Speaking of food, a good place to eat is at Mercado 60, which is a modern open food court with different kinds of food stalls around a small garden, so you can eat together with your friends but don't have to order from the same place. Moving on to art in the streets. There is an area in Merida that is quite special because of these paintings. They are located in the Ixcalachén neighborhood and it is about 15 blocks south of the main square. But the easiest way to get there is just to get an Uber taxi. That will cost you around $2 and you can get an Uber easily by downloading the app. We went there for around 30 minutes and saw different paintings. They're really different in style, and I think this was a great thing to see as well, because it shows some of the culture in Merida and there weren't any other tourists there, so this is not a typical tourist attraction. Many travelers also go to an area called Celestún that is famous for its wildlife and nature. It takes 2.5 hours to go there by bus from Merida. These pictures are from another area called Rio Lagartos, where I went to explore the Mexican nature, so if you are interested in knowing more about this adventure, I have made another video about Rio Lagartos, which is also where the Salt Lake Las Coloradas is located. But anyway, I've been told that Celestún is quite similar to Rio Lagartos with flamingos and pelicans, so that could also be an option. You can also go to the Mayan ruin Uxmal or to one of the world's 7 wonders from Merida, Chichen Itza. But I chose to go to the city nearby Chichen Itza called Valladolid for a couple of days, and then Chichen Itza. So if you are interested in knowing more about my next adventure and some good tips about why Valladolid also should be on your list, then click on this link. Feel also free to subscribe to my YouTube channel, give a thumbs up if you like this video and comment below if you have any questions.